When we go to a dinosaur film, we know it's fantasy, not a science lesson. We're willing to make a lot of allowances. But when someone says there is a Brontosaurus or Tyrannosaurus, we have a right to expect that there will be some attempt to make the creature look like it's supposed to. Before the days of CGI, filmmakers who wanted to include dinosaurs in their films had to find creative ways to include these majestic animals on the big screen. These methods included animation, costumes, which would eventually be used more for monster movies such as Godzilla, and my personal favorite, stop motion. However, the most infamous method some filmmakers used was real animals with props glued to their bodies to make them look more like dinosaurs. This was termed as a trope called Slurpasaurs, which involves live animals standing in for prehistoric ones. This trope fell out of fashion not just because of the horrible animal rights issues that occurred in the production of some of these movies, but also because these Slurpasaurs, modern-day reptiles with props attached to them, shared no resemblance to any real dinosaurs, especially not any of the famous ones that movies claimed to feature, such as T-Rex and Brontosaurus. For as much as our understanding of the appearance of dinosaurs has changed throughout the decades, they never had the exact appearance of crocodiles and lizards as these films had depicted. When moviegoers showed up to see a movie with dinosaurs and were instead greeted with an alligator with shit taped to it, they were understandably upset to have been scammed out of time and money. With general audiences and critics voicing their dissatisfaction with Slurpasaurs, studios and filmmakers eventually stopped using them to represent dinosaurs.
Hey, you're finally awake.
If you want to know more about this topic, I highly recommend watching Dino Diego's video on the subject. It goes through the history of Slurpasaurs in media and talks about them in much more detail. I'll leave the link to their video in the description. But what does this have to do with the title? Dinosaurs in movies are almost entirely CGI and don't use live animals at all, so what am I even talking about? Well, it's all related to Daniel Cohen's quote. The average moviegoer knows or doesn't care that a dinosaur movie has dinosaurs that aren't 100% scientifically accurate. But when these Slurpasaurs were so divorced from the actual appearance of dinosaurs, it was insulting to them. This leads us to what most people in the paleo community have seen and complained about, but what not many other moviegoers have complained about or even noticed. That is, the increasingly generic designs of dinosaurs in movies. One of the largest criticisms of the Jurassic World movies I saw from members of the paleo community was the rather boring and in some cases downgraded designs of the dinosaurs. However, looking through the reviews written in news outlets such as The Guardian or the New York Times, those reviews don't mention the dinosaurs at all, besides pointing out how impressive the effects and CGI are. Which is accurate, in my opinion. I do love the effects in these movies. But this just proves my point. To general audiences and critics, as long as the dinosaurs fit the appearance people have of these animals, then it doesn't really matter what they look like. Case in point, Baryonyx. This is just a crocodile standing on two legs. There's a clear difference between the real animal and this, but again, close enough, so who cares? As weird as some of the designs for Jurassic World's dinosaurs are, besides being very basic, they're not horrendous in my opinion. The new film 65, however, I don't know what this is supposed to be. This is how the Slurpasaurs have returned in spirit, as dinosaur designs have the basic elements audiences expect dinosaurs to have, while not really being a dinosaur at all. A large, scaly, reptilian animal that doesn't match anything alive today. If you were to show a person this animal, even if they couldn't tell you the actual name, they probably would identify it as a dinosaur. Hell, this is why Dimetrodon is considered a dinosaur by most people. It fits the description that they have in their minds. As I said, the spirit of Slurpasaurs has remained. It is extremely time-consuming and expensive to reconstruct up-to-date dinosaurs now and in the past. But where the past had much more limited technology and so filmmakers were instead using live animals, modern CGI fixes their biggest problem. No matter how much shit you glue onto an alligator, it's always going to look like an alligator with shit glued on it. But with CGI, the work needed to put dinosaurs on the big screen is much less expensive, as CGI is cheaper to produce than hand-drawn animation and can fit more seamlessly into a live-action production than costumes usually can. Have artists make your basic dinosaur, send it off to your CGI modelers, riggers, and animators to prepare for the big screen, and thus, it resembles real dinosaurs enough to where the general audience can suspend their disbelief and watch a movie with dinosaurs in it.